program Good Morning Salone, where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We they come now in our studio and we can talk with two studio guests them. And now I want to welcome the president for the Salone Association of Journalists, we na Ahmed Sahid Nazgala. There this morning we they can talk about for the first time journalists them na Salone don't get the welfare fund for ensure say journalists them do independent reporting and do story them we go make the public continue for get trust and journalists them work. Well, in the studio this morning, I want to welcome we own president, we na Ahmed Sahid Nazgala. Good morning, Mr. Nazgala, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, listeners in the morning. Thank you for getting me here this morning.
All right, continue for the week. We start with the Director of Surveys and Lands. We come out na the Ministry of Lands, Country Planning and Environment. I don't introduce them earlier. We na Tamba Dauda. Today na the program we can look at how Salone cities in them for go about for get land as the ministry and they in charge for ensure say they manage all the land in the country and safe make sure say all Salone people get access to land. Well, how the ministry don't go about for do this and some of the things them we recently they don't begin for do for make sure say then take back all government's land them we people be don't go tap illegal one then be start our operation. We go talk about our operation later on. But Mr. Dauda, let's begin for talk about the Ministry of Lands itself as an institution where they in charge for ensure say on a manage lands them in the country as all Salone citizens entitled for get access to land. How the ministry over the years don't they go about for execute this on a mandate to I just make mention of?
Thank you very much. The Ministry of Lands, Housing and Country Planning, as soon as Sabi, the ministry responsible for the management and administration of land right across the country. And one of we major mandates and for make sure say we maximize the use of lands. That is to say the best use where we can put the land into. Now that we for do. And secondly, we make sure say every Sierra Leonean gets access to land and equitable access. Everybody get the same chance for making their land. It can be directly by allocating land to you for your own purpose, for residential, or also for do some kind of business, or also by allocating land for public purpose where you as a Sierra Leonean will benefit from. So we don't do this over the years, and the ministry don't make sure say we don't improve on we approach them for make sure say every Sierra Leonean gets access to land and then get equal chance as well. And notwithstanding that, the ministry we also get challenges them we can face because for make land available to Sierra Leoneans them when everybody in a desire, we want to make sure say everybody gets land and everybody they compete for the limited land within the Western area. And Lord not forget say the population of Sierra Leone is over 7 million, and about a quarter of that already reside in the Western area. We get just 0.8% of the entire land space of the country. So if we get 1/4 of the population, they fight for struggle for can stay within just 0.8, not even 1% of the country's land, then they expect for get attention as we face as a ministry. But as a ministry, we try for make sure say we do them in such a way, we make sure say the one them we get over access, then get more than waiting is supposed to forget. We make sure say we take them from them and give to other people and we don't get. And that is basically what we've been on to do. We'll go into the program and we'll tell you exactly how we go about that.
Okay. You talk about maximize the use of land. In your own context or word, what do they mean exactly in maximizing land?
Well, if land, for example, they for agricultural purpose, then you take them for give somebody for billows. Then rain come, water come, it flood over the house. I mean, after some time it collapse. Or you go put on outside now water side road, where flooding come, it take them just like what be happen at the Matome case. The one that way not today the mudslide occur. The one that we just they far away from that area, they just because they're dealing with the water side road, we see our attack and go, and most of them are then suffer the casualties. Now because they're not being put a particular land within the area, then they into the best use. So we make sure say any land, for example, waiting for agricultural purpose, we make sure say we use them for agriculture. Side way not for billows, we not allow somebody go billows there. Side way in a swamp, we allow say we make sure say the mangroves and we supposed for grow there, then grow there, so that the fish them way for breed inside, way for benefit, where then they breed and can born them picking and go back to the sea. The fish themselves will able to forget a breed in space.
Issues of land, not to secrecy, you get so many complications then, because you as director of lands within in charge for sign so many documents, they are aware of some of the issues then they starting from illegal dwellers them with the tap na places them where they not supposed for they just like places that we make mention of. How the ministry don't they go about for resolve some of the issues there, so that ala no go commode between the ministry and the people that we can don't go tap illegal one of them places there?
Well, first of all, with the new minister we'll get, you don't introduce what we call the planning permission. We've not been there before. Before, what we had was getting your survey document signed and registered, and also get a building permit. But over the years, permit has been issued for areas where the issue of planning was not considered. And at the time, we realized, say, most people they issue permit, and then they build in some areas, and because now they're in private property, we they not get right for bill structures not inside, and you can get rights to your property, we get swamp and other areas we not right for bills, but they take building permit, and we take building permit. The permit when they issue to you, they say before you excavate, for let you start you building, you for call the Ministry of Lands staff them for make them go there, then guide you and ensure that the space where you don't left from you bound it outside yours for up, you go there, make sure say you demarcate them well. But over the years that don't be done happen. So we don't get people them we don't they build some sites them way they're not supposed to build. Now with the planning permission, you seek the planning permission first, you get them before you go for the building permit. The planning permission they tell you waiting for put, who sign for put them. And the building permission they tell you say if this particular structure, the planning permit don't agree say for put them in a year, but the building permit now in the go further for tell you say this structure where they build, it go able for tin up na this place. If now 3 levels, 4 levels, it go able for tin up now, or you know go strong enough for tin up now. So they will tell you say you go only put 1 or 2 level. Whereas the planning permit will tell you say that particular building for there now, or you're not supposed for the day, in a school for the day, or in an office for the day, or in a football field, or in a hospital for the day. So that is exactly what we try for implement now. And how we go about that? We staff them now. Then they go out on often as they can, and then they make sure say then they visit their sites and any building where they go on. And I will tell you say most of them ongoing construction at the Western area, about 90% of them they come for permit, some not even get document.
Mr. Dauda, then processes there, so we just explained so. Now one way concerned on the come out from the public, especially people them we just buy land, one for go ahead and start then construction work them. They know they raise concerns, say the process them for they get all the correct document them from the Ministry of Land over the years don't become so tedious. And where this current minister take up office, we see so many reforms them where it starts for implement at the ministry. Currently, as we speak, waiting at the number of days we think say somebody go take na the Ministry of Land for like getting complete documents.
Well, the process we don't adopt now is a maximum of 14 days, 16 days. Sorry, you not forget your document processed for more than 16 days. If you get your document stay much longer, there is a problem, and that's not the problem we make. Most people and they say the Ministry of Lands they delay for sign plan. Waiting we be done they get in the past. We realize say the amount of land cases we've been in economy plenty. I mean, they overwhelm the activities of the ministry. So we don't make sure say now we need a sign plan where in the end it will be a party. That plan will contribute or constitute a party to a dispute. So what they do, they make sure say we scrutinize every plan now before we sign them. And the stages then we don't set for process them plans they and for make sure say they take care of all of them the issues and they will be expecting in the future. And now, since we don't begin sign recently, we don't realize say we don't ever get any dispute or any no plan or they don't sign, we don't become a party to any dispute so far. And because of we don't make sure say the one they always for don't they sign before, we make people they feel say for the sign plan faster. Them plans and then now we need to sign again because they are all disputed areas. And some of them are state land. People they ask say some area then they now the same ministry you don't sign them. Then later on the same ministry come back saying state land. So if we we don't put two data then right, we don't make everything together as the new minister don't come. You don't make sure so we don't do a lot of reforms, as you said, we don't take note of that. We find out say before any plan sign, they go through all the processes and they make them almost impossible for us to sign something we could get dispute.
So looking at the process of 16 days where you say now they take now the Ministry of Lands for let somebody gain document, you get different type of land where people can get interest by. You get state land and private land. This process now for exactly
a lot of suppression in the camp. So many people in the camp say, then they really coerce you for do something we're not right. And as a result, some civil servants can yield into them pressure and they try to do something.
Okay.
Right. But definitely, I tell you, say nobody need to coerce anybody anymore. If you not a big person, if you come, that process they you for go through that same process they get your documents signed.
Okay.
Continue for the the program. In case you just tune in, that's not the voice of Tamba Dauda, in the Director of Surveys and Lands, not the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Country Planning. They are the program this morning, we talk about different things they will get for those land issues them. And if you get question for them, send them to 077-981-981, or if you watch it through Facebook page, and you get question for the Director of Surveys and Lands, send them there. We will try for read some of our questions then later, and the Director will try for listen. We can now to other studio guests. We now Ahmed Said Nazgala, the president for the Salone Association of Journalists. Well, this BNT Musi Usai, the association, for the first time na Salone, they may launch a welfare fund for journalists them so that they go able to do their work professional one, do independent story them, and make sure say people continue to get trust and the work way Salone journalists then they do. Well, waiting this welfare fund mean to journalists them and how journalists them go get access to this fund. Outside the association go pull this cup up or put na this trust fund. Now all linked in there. So Ahmed Said Nazgala they can talk. Good morning, Ramote, Mr. Nazgala.
Good morning.
All right. For the first time, journalists them na Salone get something like this. We make so many journalists them become excited. Say yes, we don't get a trust fund. We go able to get access to we own funds them for do we independent story them. And under your leadership, this particular thing happen. What thing inspire your team for say okay, it's high time let journalists then na Salone get their own fund for do independent journalism.
Okay, thank you very much. If you remember, the time I've been the captain for the presidency in 2018, 2019. Before, as I declare my interest for contest for the presidency, the first thing I do with my small team will be to support me. Now, I go around the country and talk to journalists them and ask them which kind of leadership they want, as large right now, and what priority needs them. So, up to 90% of the journalists that we talk to across the country, on Monday talk about welfare. Journalists and complain, say, conditions of service poor for them, then they pay them, and it's not even only pass for 10, 15, 20 years, then they pay the NASID contribution, they have 15 in the. So, because now they're concerned, without even knowing what not the solution for addressing it, I put it on the manifesto as an action point. So the welfare issue, for address welfare issue of journalism, is a part of a manifesto and a very key action point there. So I put on there, but I make sure, say, I tell the journalists and say, I know we'll solve that problem for now, but definitely I will make a genuine and conscious effort for address the welfare issue. And luckily, when we get the repeal of the criminal libel law in 2020, and they also passed the IMC Act 2020 also. And that act now don't solve one aspect of the welfare issue of journalists that they've gone before, the salary and the NASID contribution. And because the law now, they tell you, say, every media owner or every media house, by law, you're obligated for pay any staff who you employ, who are journalists, above the minimum wage, and also for paying the NASID contribution. So that aspect they don't already solve. So when we get the Golden Jubilee celebration last year, part of the activity that we put in place to say, okay, now we try to see how we will for support independent journalism and journalists that would report on emergencies them, Ebola and the mudslide and that thing there. So Orange being called, we say they get support for you for the 50th anniversary, they get some money they don't assign for you. And so all that money they first. And so they plan for launch a welfare scheme for journalism. I said, but they think around that. When we come from Mama, we tell them, so now we put that money there in the account there. So that's where the welfare issue come inside.
How much money would they talk about?
Well, not the money right now. We're not getting the money there yet because we don't pledge. When when we gather them all together, then go put them. But
So it's
but
a
idea,
projection,
yes,
say
but
with this amount of money, we'll be able for kickstart this welfare fund and the accounts go able for get something where, for example, me as journalist, I want for do my story, I will go to Sludge and get funding.
yes, now a process. This what we don't do for us right now. We don't establish the fund. We don't open the account now. We call commercial bank, and the account number they will go for publicize them. But we now assign no signature to it because it will take some time. What we want to do right now, we just establish the fund and make sure that we get people and organizations that will believe in democracy, they will believe in the media. They want to see Salone before for contribute.
Take
to
some
that
time. How long?
Yes. But we need definite time. We're going to process. Now we don't establish the fund, and we don't get 3 foundation sponsors: Orange, Mercury, and Commercial Bank. Very soon, I'm going to announce the total amount within 3 they contribute. They don't go to apply during the launching. And so beyond the establishment of the fund now, we get to go for do now for develop a policy around the fund. And that policy, now, how they manage that fund, how we go for sustain them, and how we go for implement them. And we work together with Bournemouth University, one of our partners, them, and the Media Reform Coordinating Group, and also the Mass Communication Department, for put that policy together. And then we show clearly how they for manage this fund here, how they for administer, and how journalists can for benefits from them.
So,
spelled out clearly.
So looking at the fund, let's look at interest and commitment so far for member them within the Sludge body. The interest and commitment on the come out from people for welcome this kind of initiative.
Yes, if you go to launch the BBC journalism immediately, and because we get all the heads of the affiliate bodies all immediately, and the regional heads them, they all kind of turn for come the part of the ceremony. And we get to the corporate house where everybody pledge and support, say, and it's not a very good initiative. You can find out any kind of fund there that will begin support with your activities.
So looking at the fund, is it that now people are really into the media field, whether no matter how long you don't practice for contribute to this fund, or this get for be an extension of private company them also?
If journalists want to contribute, if they get money, the media owners they want to contribute, they can contribute to that. But basically, we target the corporate houses, and also we target government. Because government responsibility. Government, if you remember, government don't contribute to the National Sport Development Fund. They don't put some money because they know say sports and something will get where if you invest in sport, definitely the impact they trickle down to many things. The same with the media. We don't forget a stable society. We don't forget with democracy go before. We don't forget an independent media. We will all society together and they bring out the correct information and make sure so we get cohesiveness and peace.
This initiative of a media fund, the first time this will happen at Salone. When are the structure that we put in place for ensure say the fund is well managed, the issue of corruption and other things them not come up where this fund go down begin kickstart, that way people go down begin contribute financially.
Okay, before I come to that, a lot of people want to think clear. What is the fund for? What are the fund the target? Okay, every member of Sludge who paid up member of Sludge, registered member of Sludge, is eligible for benefits from this fund here. And basically, the fund they try to address 2 things. One, for support independent journalism. If you say, and I know they're dying at Salone right now. If you look at the media now, you will see say one set of the media they pro-government, one set of the media they opposition. Then we get a small group within the middle, who are the independent media, where they face so many challenges.
All right,
yes.
Continue for the program. Ahmed Said Nazgala will come back to you. Okay. You will continue to explain about the structure them and the people who are eligible for benefits from this fund.
And the program, Good Morning Salone, they continue. And this time around, inside the program, we'll come over to with studio guests, and I will bring in the Director of Surveys and Lands at the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Country Planning, Tamba Dauda. We don't explain how they don't manage and handle different land issue them in the country. Mr. Dauda, before we go for the break, we will talk about land documentation, specifically on private land them. Now, we'll go to the issue of government or state land, as one can normally call them, because I know we can see the tension can be between owner and citizen them on the issue of, say, yana government land and all of that. And for let somebody get a legal or own a government land, waiting yielding at the process them we involve, so that the issue of the cost can be between owner and the citizen them, go they reduce.
Okay, thank you very much. You see, before now, the people them not be know within a state land and within a private land, and they not be know the process and procedures for go through for buy land, private land, or for even apply for government land. Now we don't get as a ministry under the same leadership of Dr. Turat Senesi. When he take over, the first thing we do now for make we get a retreat where we go hold out away from the city. We say we get enough time for sit down and we reflect on what only happened in the past, and make sure we come up with some standard operating procedures. Where inside there we get procedures for all the activities. One, waiting you get for get private land, the process is that we get for go through, and for apply for state land, the process is that we get for go through, and also for building permits, the process that we get for go through, as well as planning permits. Waiting we don't do so far. We for private plan, of course, the license surveyors now they no more for submit plans through, and we don't go to an extent for publish the names of the private license surveyors on our website. So with that, we regulate the activities of the license surveyors. So when a license surveyor go out for survey, it operates within the confines of the survey ordinance where they guide their activities. So we can regulate them. If you violate any one of them, dictates them, we can take action against you. So with that, the license surveyors can go out and do the right thing. Before now, anybody being a calling self-surveyor and go out and do something.
Talking about surveyors, Mr. Dauda, let's just use the opportunity for ask you that question. They become one of the things that they speak of. So many issues don't they happen at the ministry concerning surveyors. So certain people can just hang around the ministry. They pose say then as surveyors them. If you go to court, I believe so you're aware. Say so many cases then they about people that we can go pose at the ministry say then as surveyors or they're not to actual surveyor. How I don't do for make sure say when I get rid of them ghost surveyors then at the Ministry of Lands?
Well, we don't do a lot of press release in that direction. We don't make sure so we don't inform the public adequately that if you want to forget a surveyor, you go the website and look for any of the licensed surveyors and get in service. And also then get people surveyors we also don't register. You can get the people surveyors through the website as well. And we also then regulate the fees, the standard fees where surveyors can get, with the aspect of the old system where anybody they call himself surveyor, that not they work anymore. Because if you get somebody go survey for you, you don't go even process the plan because we don't accept plan at the ministry from anybody except a licensed surveyor. So I go get your plan process where you possibly hire not a licensed surveyor. That is one. And for state land, we also don't get standard operating procedures and now form you the feel. Within that don't eliminate is that you need to come again like today anybody can write an application letter for you. Then you get somebody who will deceive you or take money from you. Now we don't get an application form where you can collect from the booth. If you don't go to the ministry recently, you go realize say the ministry don't put front desk and front desk officers and throughout the working hours for talk to members of the public where you come. If you're not able to access the website, then we'll tell you what you need for go through and apply for land. And also if you while you wait for see somebody at the ministry, we don't get to a large big screen. We don't put in the hall there, and we also get at the conference hall. If you don't get space for it, you can wait at the conference hall. We inside that big screen there, we always get broadcasting where they go out for inform people about with new activities and with new procedures.
This
and
form
so
we just make mention of. If somebody go to the ministry through that booth, we see una do establish the. You get any required amount we pay, or you can just go collect the form you fill and go left and back at the ministry?
No, in fact, the forms are free. And with that, they gradually develop in such a way you don't need for fill form anymore. You can left now you also you studio dinner, so you access the website and apply through the form. We eventually get for being and come to that level the way you can enter your information. The website get for very interactive. You enter information and whatever land you apply for, if not residential or office or any other business, you state and they get the opportunity for choose among options. So once you don't put in your information at the website, then you go get a code where the website will respond to you as soon as you click on submit. So they work on that for make sure so everybody get equal access to the website. And you'll be asked a question we get for do with state land allocation. If recently when I realized we new model we don't adopt, we don't do them in such a way that everybody get access to land. The last time when I say we conduct a lottery where we do them openly, not to inside the you building floor itself. Now outside the car park there, we invite the media houses them. The rural application where people submit. Now we just take them, we wrap them, we dump them inside a very big drum, and in the eyes of all the journalists. And before that, we make sure say they watch the drum, say nothing not inside, and everybody come and see them. We call any member from the public. You can't draw out any lucky winner. Then we read them out to the public. The phone numbers are announced every time, and since then we don't get people and we don't trust that process, and everybody get equal rights to land.
Okay, continue for the way to name Natamba Dauda, na the Director of Lands and Survey at the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Country Planning. And they talk about how they don't manage and also handle land issue them na the country.
Good morning, Salone. Where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We still get the president for the Salone Association of Journalists Sludge, when Ahmed Said Nazgala with in the studio. He will explain about the Sludge Welfare Fund for journalists them, where for the first time they don't launch on Monday. And waiting this fund mean to journalists them, now that's a bit talk about. Mr. Nazgala earlier I start for talk about this fund and some of the different process them where you start for explain. But firstly, when I just set up the account, when I still they look for partners them for help with the fund we're supposed for go inside the account, and later when I get for work with other affiliate body them for put together a policy where go guide journalists them how for get by this fund. With all them process then the way to explain. One go and say not to just now this fund go begin work.
Well, we don't want to promise. We have to be realistic with what they do. But the good thing is that they would establish the fund. That's not a big step going forward. And like I say, this fund they target two things. One, we say it support independent journalism. We feel say Sludge, it don't die down in the profession. And so, let us give you one scenario what happened in 2014. 2014, when we get the Ebola outbreak, Sludge will play a very crucial role for support the government, the Minister of Health and Minister of Information for because they play their own part to let the people get the correct information, the people obey the preventive measures them for make sure say the spread. So I mean Kevin Lewis will be the president. And then maybe don't left AYV as managing editor, I don't go independent. So Kelvin may get an idea, say, we get 3 journalists in the country, this is the way making record beyond 21, 0 cases beyond 21 days. And if you want for journalists and go to the place independently and go talk to the stakeholders then and ask them what they put in place, what they do for them achieve that milestone day. So that other regions them and district them will copy for example, let's say adapt them. So we'll continue to get 0 cases then all over the country. So Kelvin called me, say, my idea is anyone, let me go as senior editor and go with the reporters then from several newspapers and radio stations then and go to that place there, Kailaun, Pujaun and Bond and some other places them. So I go supervise them. So they go down the field, then they send the report them. And they can program them. But that end the resources come out from Kelvin in pocket. Where he's supposed to come from Sludge, because they don't make money. So they can't do one for stop. There be a fund where Sludge get who will support them kind of initiative there. So one go do some investigation of the mining sector. One go and go see how the mining companies they operate, how they treat the environment, how they treat the workers, how they treat the communities that they operate. You need a team to put the team together and tell them, so we're going to do this kind of report in INCAM and syndicate the report. Elections they come. One journalist then for go now all over the whole country, and they send incredible report there. With like we syndicate with him, with media houses following the report. So the aspect of independent journalism one for support. And the other aspect, if you want to see Salone, we're very vulnerable to natural disasters. We don't get the Ebola outbreak, we don't get more slide, flooding, we don't get COVID-19 now, and we don't get a fire disaster. A fire disaster is happening always. And journalists are always in the front line. For going to the place they have, for get the information, the people and they know what's happening. And because then they go at the front line as early as possible, even before the health workers themselves, they're liable for get injured, and liable also for suffer psychological trauma. And so this fund, they for support, then kind the journalists and they caught up in the constitution, this fund they for support, then kind. So now the two aspects of the fund. And what will we do with the fund? What is happening right now? So the money we get forget right now, we don't get Orange, we don't get Mercury, we don't get Commercial Bank. And now the 3 foundation sponsors them. We put the seed money. So we don't get all the money, we don't get a total money for us. What we say, we don't reach a mark, what we say this is enough for invest. Then we invest them in bearer bonds because the money get for the multiply, not get for the savings account. So apart from the interest we raise from the savings, we also get for investor. So the policy we go for build, according to the concept, you can get a welfare management committee when I get for manage that funding, and I get for administer them, and I get for manage them, and I get for develop strategies then for make sure say the fund is sustainable. So that not just a pool, but the money get for the grow. So any area that see for invest here, for the money grow, definitely that committee they go advise / and they go put everything will be very transparent.
How now they go about for selecting people who are good in this committee?
Well, all the policy get for talk about Lamandi, and the policy now the next step. The first step now for set the fund. The next step now for develop the policy, and the policy will make sure say we adapt something we don't happen in other countries.
So basically, this fund could begin full operation
after the policy.
Only we don't get this policy.
The policy, yes.
So looking at the corporate institution, the way you mention as the key body, them we for start with the seed input on the fund. Una already don't get them able to convince them, make them see why them for support this media fund.
Yes, nothing. I can mention it. The only committee I never mention it. The three, but don't me say that the number with the number now the exclusive. But then 3 are now all plan the launching. We get a Zoom meeting with the heads them. We plan the launching. And then commit say this is not a good initiative and we go support them.
But they don't state it kind of.
But to open up to other capitals, they could go around so you know me say because we get around so not forget half itself because they're not rival there. No, this is not a fund for support the media. And we believe say we support the media, they don't support the democracy, they don't support a stable society.
So now don't get the understanding on the contribution we them for make into this fund that the corporate institution.
Yes, Orange don't contribute already 20 million for opening the account and Mercury International, the MD, Mr. Martin Michael, don't pledge for contribute for in family. Then also Mercury, but they will announce the amount later. Then the commercial bank say then they host the account. The MD begin the program make a statement and say they're going to announce the contribution very soon.
All right.
But already get about 10 million from the Katili, when the audit account. They say President said this is not a good initiative. Right. If I look at the fund, who go for invest, who get the good money so that we could finance our own programs.
All right. Well, if you're a private institution or an individual where they listen to the president of the Salone Association of Journalists and you feel saying a good idea where the association don't bring out for launch this journalist welfare fund, anyone for contribute, you can reach out to this large secretariat Nakambu Street and make your own commitment as any amount where you pledge to the association. It go help for make journalists them do professional journalism, especially in independent reporting. Waste large one for encourage journalists them for embark on. We continue the program Good Morning Salone, where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy, 98.1 FM. Still get with studio guests them. We get Ahmed Said Nazgala, the president for the Salone Association of Journalists, and Tamba Dauda, where the director of Surveys and Lands from the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Country Planning. Mr. Dauda, don't talk so many things about the process and procedure them with somebody for go through before able for acquire a state land and safe if somebody gets a private land. I for able go through them process there so and getting complete document them. Now let's talk about the operation. We'll see when I embark on this being in the Salone police for going a different community them and go try for claim back land them we wanna say na state land them where people them be don't go tap illegal one. How this operation been come about from the ministry and the Salone police?
Well, thank you again once more. You see, the Ministry of Lands been under so much pressure for make lands available to the public, the general public. And we don't see over the years that most of the land in the way we know Sena state land, people and they build it without document, and some of them, we actually stop them, most of them. But don't forget, the Ministry of Lands, we get limited staff, and the area we cover so large, and we get limited time for work during the day. We work for only 8 hours, and weekends we don't work. But what we don't realize now, most of them violators then they bill on weekends, and most of the time na net, they can go bore some of them land in the intelligence don't come, we don't go, we don't verify, we don't find out say indeed most of them land grabbers and then are nets and they will bill. Some of them we unlucky, we can catch them on the spot, we charge them to court. So what we don't realize is that if we know they go out together with the security sector, we go lost control over their landing because most of the time during the day we can able to enforce, but beyond the time they will not be able to enforce because we are not at work. So we on a few weeks back we take a general tour. That was not unusual. It was very usual. We go together with the police force. The IG was there and some hierarchy officers and also Ministry of Lands, senior officials, including the minister. that was very normal. We be done they go around in that same manner. And waiting we realize it's just as usual. We can go around, they meet people and they bill or illegally in a land away, they don't get document for us or not even get permit, so we can conduct arrest. So waiting we do, we go around the peninsula and make sure say anybody will catch you on the spot. We don't do a press release that at any point in time, and even engineering standards, they tell you say if you construct a house, you forget your document at site at all times. So we don't do a press release for remind them of that. So they effect arrested now. On that very day, before we get to York, where as he say, an audio don't come away, they make rounds on the social media. We don't arrest a lot of people them where we catch along the way. Then we get to York. Then people who don't arrest already been in the vehicle. We go now. In fact, where we come to York, we stop by because the IGC, the land we didn't get, he did a low check and see the status of the land. So we stop by and indeed police get land day. Now they the magistrate court day. Now they we get one girls' school we then build it. All of those allocations were state allocations given to those institutions. So then land, as we stop by Waka, they go inside the land, now open land, very plain. We meet people in the bill and the back. But the man waiting, you did do now, he say, now you don't get this place. Would I argue, he say he buy from somebody. Would I report, he say that the head man he buy from. Fortunately for we, the head man been there around, now he call him, he come. So when they call him, he come, now he ask the man back where he say he buy the land. But the man, na would I sell you, say na the head man. He say, he say yes. Where am I? He say 19 up so. So they ask the head man right there, would I sell this land? He say, "I sell land. You get the document for this land?" Well, it begins stormer. You know, able to tell you any better team. With the document, you know, get document, but some people tell and say, "I ain't get the land." Blah blah blah. Land, not to say then they tell you say that you get land Western area.
But some of them people there, Mr. Dawda, we don't explain. But so immediately that incident they happen, they may reach out to Radio Democracy and. A reporter been go they talk to them according to what they say now that they don't get in this particular land for several years before the Ministry of Lands and the Salone police go there and arrest the 8 man and other people them. How much the ministry being able to do investigations for no say then people there so not illegal settlers them?
Well, I also want to ask 98.1. Anytime when I talk to people they say they get document for their land and they let them produce some for owner. They actually make them very clear who going to the site. They not get document. The one way they build, the one way sell game, not get document. I was there, and other officers have been did it. So we asked them for document and not get them. And we not only that one person who catch. Several other people have been the bill when they not get document and that yokri. So they ask the 8 man for make he go explain how he get the land and why he sell them. Thereafter, he make a call. A group of people in common at the York village with a 4,000 feet away from the land where they talk about. York village, as we speak, is 4,000 feet away from the area where they talk about. And all of the allocations, we don't go on another place in a state land where the members of York, the inhabitants of York, including the headmen at the time, we are part of that allocations, and at them in the protected land and therefore we they know say in a state land.
Okay, in as much as una they do una work for claim government land them, how much una can consider una approach and also know say the people una they deal with where una can on claim say they na the land here illegal one a citizen of this country. Because the issue of say where una gets issue with them, then can always be the victim. Issue of violence, arrest can be.
No, well, as I say, I just want to make it very clear. There were no violence. Instead, now from the people and where the headman call. The headman call a group of young men and we then come, then get several other things that they are where they come with stone and begin stone the police them.
Now they beat themselves na the York village because according to the people the police will go with and other security force them beat and arrest some of them.
Well, first of all, I make it very clear. The York village is inside, away from the highway. The land we talk about now on the highway. We just a tour along the highway.
So this land not a part of the York village?
This land, I don't just mention, say 4,000 feet away from the York village, which is quite a greater distance. Now, whether they say 4,000 feet, when you consider the village structures and the outskirts of the village itself, you take them from that outskirts, it's 4,000 feet away. Now, the people they talk about, now where the headman call, now some youths and where they come and begin stone the police them. If not to restrain police and be exercised at that time, maybe when for there is a casualty, they not the police, they not even use any of them weapons. Then just the one that we come within the reach of the police and arrest them, and then they now under investigation. But then I want to make it very clear. There are certain laws and where they guide our activities, and there are certain laws and we state the right way under which the ministry to operate. First of all, I want to make it very clear, the land is state land, and the laws then where they out there make them very clear about all of the land in the under Section 2 of the State Lands Act, make them very clear, say all land where by cession, or if the government we don't see them, or by treaty, okay, or by any convention or agreement by the government in a state land, and any land where government go acquire in a state land, and also any land where government take for public purpose, all they fall under that category of state land. Okay. So if we look at that definition, we find out say by that treaty where the Salone government we don't sign with the British government during colonialization, the entire colony in a state land.
So there's nothing like dialogue. If somebody don't in a land for a long time, don't utilize and keep and safe. In as much as when they go for tell and say this is state land owned by government, what happened to the issue for loan and sidom engage and look at the way forward rather than the approach of going with security forces?
Okay, well, we don't go with security forces for go arrest anyone, and for just move around for make sure say we check, we land them, and anybody will go put resistance at the time.
But arrest
make sure
may
say
happen.
Yeah, well, now because they confront the police, some were sending stones. And if you see some of the weapons, they were there, but cutlass be in the hand.
So wait now the status of the people they now where them be don't arrest them, be don't charge them, go court, or then still in a police custody?
Well, some of them, they don't charge them to court, and some of them, they still on investigations. When the file is complete, the police then feel say matured enough for them to send in a court. And don't forget, police in the charge where they not see any case. Where they know if they ask you for a document, you know, for produce them, then they find out what you do is wrong. Police will charge you in a court.
Another issue again where people have been get concerned by Mr. Dauda, now the way how the Ministry of Lands in collaboration with the Salone police been go about for arrest them people there. So some of the pictures them will been go viral on social media, then below them now the police van. Some people be already get handcuffed now they hand them. It been really worth them for letting people there, so the police and the Ministry of Land been put them through the situation there for put handcuffed and like hardcore criminals.
Well, you realize say not to all be get handcuffed. Some actually when they arrest them, then be very, very cooperative.
But some been get handcuffed.
Well, because some during the time try for escape, and some they challenge and they put up, then they resist arrest. So at the end, at the time, the police not get option, but for make sure say handcuffed them because they not go want during the time they jump and escape.
Okay.
You see, so we also realize say most of the land in the as I've been speak now land them way people are not get document for, but they claim and the bill and the land. If we know they do then tour then they. And we don't make sure so we stop them then we then occupy the land and then get one belief that after we don't build now for settlement no more now government go left we all as well. But make I tell you something. When the minister take over, we don't get about 4 meetings with all headmen.
Okay.
About 4 meetings with all headmen. We don't invite them at the ministry. We don't sit down. We don't dialogue. Several times, like the question we asked just now, whether we don't the dialogue. All of them headmen in the Western area, they are part of that. He calling one and go attest to that. Okay. So we don't call them. We don't dialogue with them. We don't bring them coming in we own operation. And some of them are very cooperative.
Okay,
but others are just being resistant. They just feel say the land for the take and they sell them on their own.
Okay, Tambadawa, continue for the way to inside the program.
We continue with the program. Good morning, Salone, where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy, 98.1 FM. Quickly, we come to the president for the Salone Association of Journalists. We don't talk about the Sludge Welfare Fund where they launch for journalists them this BNTM. Mr. President, I know say journalists them will be everybody's great initiative from you and your executive. Everybody be excited, but we still get a small stumbling block for let the implementation of the fund begin when I for develop this policy. How fast you and your team go work together with the other affiliate body them for put together this policy?
Well, I'm not calling stumbling block. I will say in a process. The first part we don't do so. The next stage, we develop the policy, and we'll do it as soon as possible. Because the next step, we can begin publicize the fund and the accounts now, so that the public will know the account number. You don't need for account, we just need to go into the account. The bank statement will get all the history of that they contribute, if they want to be identified. So that's at the next stage. And so we try to do as fast as possible because it's a very good initiative and we'll let the momentum die. And right now, the talks, I don't get many texts from journalists and we'll do the comment on the issue of the fund. Some of them begin to talk, say the welfare will put the, will make the journalists begin to say this is for support. The Barbarian, support them for Lado, or support them for when they don't retire. So we need to make it clear whether we will say a large fund for investigative reporting or independent reporting, and they get another large fund for journalists in crisis situations.
So
but the policy go, the team will put together for the policy, then go advise and all that to go send them, then comment it to them, and then go watch them back.
So
whatever thing we need for review, for it be appropriate, definitely we'll do.
So how much are going to show say in any step we wanna take on this fund, we're a very good initiative, wanna involve and make let people know, especially the one them where they fund the targets, we're not journalists them.
But we're not media organization, so definitely anything to do with the publicizer. But the people understand that this step we don't take. We have an account to membership, we can afford them. And also the account to the foundation sponsors, because now they don't start this year, now they don't committed and consent for provider seed money day. So whatever we do in consultation with them, and we make sure say we carry we membership along.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. President of SLAJ. We come on the program and can explain about this welfare fund. Quickly, we can to you, Mr. Dauda, before we can talk about other measures them where the ministry they put in place for ensure say we take back all state land them. Let's just put you on the spot and ask you what's in the current status for the SLAJ land where government may promise the association.
Fine question.
SLAJ land.
Yes.
Specific land you talk about.
Government the Ministry of Information been promised for give land to the association for put up a secretariat.
Under the Sandy.
Yes.
So we not get time. Well, normally there are criteria if you request for land for residentially different from where they request for land for an institution. You therefore send a very thorough proposal.
So since the president there now, what's the criteria there? So
well, you have to put your proposal together, your implementation plan. If you give the land, which you plan for giving, that will help for determine the quantum of land will they give and the location. Because if we know what you want to do and how we want to operate within, that could help you for determine the location and also the quantum of land. And also you will need for give you implementation plan. How long it will take you for develop the land and waiting you get for the do it.
All right.
So until we get that, we're not able to make the land available because we don't make several lands available to institutions where they don't out some proposals and then keep the land and then take the land and the other potential developers that don't come. We're not able to make that available because we already signed an agreement with them people and so you're the wait when in default after the first year we can terminate and make other people. We not let that repeat itself again.
So we're not the way forward in managing and handling land issue apart from our operation them. Waiting people get for see or not don't do go continue for work with. We're going to say the issue of land and also make people get equal access to land. I mean, deal within all Sierra Leone and them.
Well, you see, land business very critical. Every facet of society wants for come inside the land business. Now, waiting, we don't realize over the years. We just come from research and observation. We collaborate with the police. We just don't realize, say, the crime for armed robbery don't reduce drastically, but the land crime don't increase, land grabbing. So we want to believe, say, most of the people in the armed robbers, they don't left this host broken again. They don't come now for the grab land. And most of them, they pan this land business because they believe, say, you can grab land even though you don't get documents. Then we just tell you, say, not to you get this land, commodity. But with other thing, where they catch you, they can go straight in jail. So then feel, say, this one lucrative than what they do before.
Quickly, before you left, we talk about websites and people that don't ask, wait now the website, a link to the website.
Well, the website now, molhe.gov.sl.
Okay, plenty thank you to you. In name na Tamba Dauda, Director of Survey and Lands at the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Country Planning. We can talk about how they don't manage and handle the different land situation them. Now the country, we be also get the president for the Salone Association of Journalists, Hamid Said Nazgala. We can talk for the first time, the official launch where they don't do of the welfare fund for journalists. We talk about structure and how this fund get for day in terms of journalists, how they get for the benefit from this fund. Well, Una, thank you, Una, be with guest inside the program. Good morning, Salone. Now, this edition of the program go left you, as always, Alex Lawrence Koroma and Michael Sambola, that then produced the program. DJ Lava give technical support. Moses Kavura and Timmy Konasi live on our Facebook page. We will bring this edition of the program come to you. Mina Sapti Kalana says stay tuned to this frequency.